Good morning, my name is Chris Fox, and we are back again to talk about mailing lists. Today I want to go specifically over a couple of different things. So the first is a couple of challenges that I ran into with MailChimp, just combining lists. So I've had to turn off autoresponders, which is its own kind of personal hell, because then I get a ton of emails from people saying, hey, listen, I signed up to this list and I'm not getting whatever it is I signed up for. What the heck, man? So this whole transition is throwing things into upheaval. So if you are going to do a re-engagement campaign, I would caution you to be prepared that there are going to be some hurdles to jump over, and it is going to take maybe a little bit more of your time than you would think. But fortunately, I have enlisted the aid of a friend. I'm friends with Ryan Z. Many of you know and have used his service, his giveaway service. And Ryan is a whiz with this stuff, and so he's kind of helping me build my re-engagement campaign. You're going to hear more about him in probably this video and the next one. In any case, we'll talk about the merge process, we'll talk about the problems I ran into, and then we're going to jump into what specifically I am doing for a re-engagement plan on a fiction list. I thought about it, and while I was going to do one for nonfiction, I think that's less relevant to you guys. The vast majority of you guys write novels, so I want to show you how this shapes up in that way. And you're going to see a very raw, very early draft of an email that we're concocting, and it's not ready to go out. So when you see next week's version and you get to look at that final version of the email, you'll kind of get to compare and contrast and see sort of some of the work that goes into this. Anyway, as I say at the end of the video, feel free to leave your questions down in the comments. There were a lot of great ones last week, and I will try to answer as many of those as I can. Anyway, let's jump into the next segment of the video. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. So I turned off autoresponders on the 21-day novel challenge and the nonfiction website signups list. This is why you haven't heard from me in the last couple of weeks if you are signed up to one of those two lists, because MailChimp tells me that I cannot combine lists if there's been any activity on that list in the last 7 days, and that includes autoresponders. So I had to turn off my autoresponders, which meant getting a whole bunch of emails from people saying, hey, listen, I'm signing up, but I'm not getting the stuff that I signed up for. You know, where is the spreadsheet? Where is 5,000 words per hour, my free book? So that's meant a lot of manual work, and I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it at all. And so what you are going to see in this video is me doing a little bit more research into possible platforms that I can migrate to, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But for now, we're just going to see if this works. So can I combine these two lists? And it should be as simple as I go here to combine lists. It's going to ask me which one I want to combine with. I'm going to say my 21-day novel challenge list, which is the YouTube channel. Hit next. Am I sure I want to do this because I can lose information? Yes, I am sure. Okay. Holy crap, it actually worked, I think. Let's take a look. Okay, it says it's queued to be combined. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, so I'm going to do a little bit further research. We're going to see whether or not that actually works and how long it takes. Hopefully it is not too lengthy of a process, as I am intending to send out a video this morning. Today is Friday, July 13th, my birthday, that I'm recording this. So I've got last week's video basically that I'm sending out, and now I may have to wait to send it based on what happens here. Anyway, I'll keep you guys posted. Let's get to the next segment. Okay, so we are several days past the last segment that you just saw, and we are looking at the resulting numbers. It's been almost a week since I recorded that last snippet, and I think it's interesting to see the changes, and I sort of wanted to go over them. So the first thing that I thought was important is that over 600 people were lost in the initial merge because they had signed up to both lists. So I thought that was interesting. I was paying for basically inflated lists because instead of using a feature that many mailing list providers give you called tags, where you can tag users to be on multiple lists, I had them in the system, basically counted multiple times. And so the first advantage of doing the merge that I did was that I removed those 600 people and dropped down my overall number of subscribers without really losing anybody. And I think it's a first good step, and we're going to see if that's also true when I start combining fiction lists, which I suspect that it will be. Something else of note that I thought was interesting. The nonfiction website signups list has got 97 subscribers in the last week, which compares to about 15 for the 21-day novel challenge. And the reason for this, I'm realizing, is if you look at the links on my most popular videos on the channel, almost all of them include a link to the nonfiction website signups landing page. It's going to get a sign up on that list as opposed to this one. So it became clear that I'm going to need to go back to every single video on the channel and update the description to get them on the correct sign up page. So that is kind of an action item that I've taken away from this. And of course, I'm going to have Mary do that. I'm not doing it myself, but it is something that'll need to be done. Anyway, we'll go ahead and jump into the next segment of the video. Okay, I wanted to talk about re-engagement because of the questions on the comment section for last week's video, that was one of the most popular ones. The other one is how do you get people on your list, but that's a broad topic and we're going to cover that closer to the end because it'll require a full video and it'll be one of the last things that I do in this process. So in this step, since this is what I'm working on and we did get a lot of questions about it, how do you re-engage users that you haven't talked to in a long time, people that haven't ever clicked on your emails or haven't clicked on them in a very long time? And this is how I'm going to do it. And it's borrowing a strategy from a friend of mine, Ryan Z. Many of you have used his service in the past, his giveaway service. And Ryan's a great guy and he's super smart. And so he's helping me create these emails. And you see I've got reactivation email number 1, and then reactivation email number 2 and number 3. And so we're kind of building this process where they will get multiple emails with different subject lines, but only if they didn't open the first one. So if they open the first one, then we're good and we're not going to send them the rest of those emails. And we'll take a look real quick at the email itself. Now, bear in mind, this is a work in progress, and you'll see probably in next week's video what the final activation email looks like. In fact, a lot of you, if you're on the list, you may see it. Let's go into design email mode. That should give us a look at the language that I've got so far. And this particular one is going to be sent out for my Void Wraith trilogy list. So I wanted to show you fiction as opposed to nonfiction. And you can kind of see the language here. I'm not going to read this out loud, but I will scroll down slowly so that if you were watching the video, you can kind of pause it and read what's here. But you can see basically what the ask is. Hey, listen, at some point you thought it was cool enough to sign up to this list, that you wanted to be notified of additional books. Is that still the case? And if the answer is no, if these people don't click, anybody that still falls on that list, I will drop off. I'm just going to jettison them entirely from my list. And it's my expectation that probably 90+% of these people that I'm sending the email to are not going to click keep me on the list. And I'm just going to end up with less people on there. And that's fine. Basically, you're cutting dead weight. But this does give them a chance really to sign up, to get back into your engagement cycle, to reread the books. Maybe they had purchased the first one and not the second one, so they jump in and reread the first one and get back into it. You're kind of trying to warm them up, and you're expecting that you're going to lose a lot of people. And one of the big questions that I got was, well, how do you do this without generating so many unsubscribes that you're going to get them to ban your account? And fortunately, unless your account is very, very large, that's not a huge risk, but it is one of the advantages of building your list into segments. So if necessary, let's say you had to tell, 5,000 people that they shouldn't be on your list anymore, and you're going to get a bunch of unsubscribes as a result, you can get around that by either breaking that into multiple segments and only telling like 500 people a day, or just let them know in the email, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to unsubscribe. If you do nothing, I'm going to remove you. And I think most people, I'm hoping, when I send this out, are going to be fine with that, and they are not going to click unsubscribe en masse. So you're going to get to see. Maybe I'll get into trouble with MailChimp, but if that's the case, I'm not terribly concerned because you'll see by the end of this video series that I'm probably going to be migrating to another service. The front runner at this point is ActiveCampaign, but I am looking at a couple of others. And again, you'll see that later in the series. But the topic of this video is more re-engaging people who have not been talked to in a long time and just aren't responding to your emails. So again, you want to build a segment of people that are 1 and 2 star if you're using MailChimp. Let's go to a list, go to the Void Wraith Trilogy, and I can show you the segment that Ryan Z built for me. So 1 or 2 stars added before January of 2018. So basically, the people that haven't really engaged in a long, long time. If they signed up this year, there's really no point in calling them just yet. I'm going to give them some more time. But he created a segment, and then of course we're going to send that email you just saw to the segment, and we'll see what the results are. And I'm going to replicate this for my other lists as well, but I figured the Void Wraith Trilogy list would be a great example because they're highly engaged, and I'm trying to get it even more highly engaged. So I'm going to extend the same offer that I did last week. If you have questions, please post them in the comments. I'm going to keep building those into lists. I am paying attention to those even if I didn't answer your question, and it should get addressed. If it doesn't, then we'll do that on the final video and make sure that I have a Q&A where everything gets taken care of. I could even rope somebody like Ranzi into coming into a video recording, like an interview, and we'll put that up. In any case, if you have those questions, please post them. I need to get back to the writing. I am just about done editing War Mage, which means I should be able to send that off to beta readers in, I'm going to guess a week or so. And that feels really, really good. It's been a while since I finished a novel. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to get back to the writing. I'll see you guys next week.